What's up, you guys? It's your buddy, 5 Bar Doom. Happy Monday. Hope you had a good foosball weekend. And I want to do a short video. Somebody asked me to make a video about balls, specifically. Like the balls at TKO and what I thought about the whole situation. Like they had heard that the balls, or they were there, and they thought the balls were terrible, and everybody else thought the balls were terrible. And basically what I thought about it. So basically, my take on it was the balls did seem pretty... Well, I mean, okay, what's good and what's bad about balls? So I think basically what everybody wants with a brand new Tornado foosball is that it has really good texture on the outside, and that texture doesn't like immediately wear off. I think that's pretty much it. You know what I mean? And what I would say, and I think like not just at TKO, but I guess at other tournaments that I've been to, my experience has been like day one, you get the brand new ball. You know, they're always pretty nice. And then over the course of the weekend, they get worn down and they play a lot faster. So like the ball on day one that you get is certainly different than the ball on day 3 or 4 of the tournament. Like by the end of the tournament, they're going to look totally different. They're going to be a lot more worn down, and they're going to play a lot faster. I don't think that's anything new. And I think this time at TKO, that is basically what happened. It's like day one. I mean, the balls did seem pretty bad, to be honest. I mean, the thing is, though, it's like they're bad. Okay, fine. But I mean, I guess my thing with the balls, though, is you just got to deal with the ball that you're given. You know what I mean? Some balls are going to play faster. Some balls are going to play slower. And they're never gonna just be consistently good throughout. Like, I've never seen them to where you can create a ball to where, like, it just maintains that nice, rough texture on the outside, and the ball always moves really slow. It's just not what it is, you know? And there's so many crybabies that pretty much just everybody is such a baby about the balls nowadays, to where like everybody won't shut up about it. Everybody's complaining. Everybody wants new balls all the time in these tournament tables. And it's just like, it's not realistic, man. Like the balls cost like what, $5-6 a ball? I mean, the balls are ridiculously expensive now. And like if you're a promoter, or if you just have a table at home, you can't just afford to get these brand new balls all the time. And it's an unrealistic expectation to think that promoters are going to just like always shell out for new balls. It's stupid. Nobody's going to do it. It's not worth it. And even if you do get a new ball, they're not going to remain good. You know what I mean? They're good, going to be good for that first weekend. You know, maybe the second weekend. After a few weeks, you're back to the exact same situation that you were before. You know, where the balls just like are a little bit, they're harder, they don't have as much texture on the outside, and they're going to roll faster. You know what I mean? So, honestly, I'm sick of it, dude. I'm sick of all you guys being babies about the balls. I'm sick of everybody saying they need new balls all the time. And I just keep going. Anytime I think about the whole ball or table debate, I just think about like a really good player like Tony Spreedeman, dude. Is this guy crying about the balls? I mean, maybe he is. I mean, if he is, post in the comments. I just assume somebody really good like Tony isn't crying about the balls like you guys all the time. He gets on the table, he checks out the balls, sees what the conditions are that he's dealing with, and he adapts to the ball. So I would just say that's what you should do as well. Now, I mean, sure, like if like we played this place called Grady's, and they have these really old balls. I mean, just like to where the balls are like straight up marbles, like no texture, like they're shiny on the outside, and they just roll forever. Like you hit that ball and it will not stop moving until it goes in a goal. You know what I mean? Like there's so much action on the ball. Like, okay, yeah, at that point, you're going to need some new balls. You know what I mean? If the balls are literally shiny on the outside and they've been played for like 5 years, okay, at that point, I think you have a legitimate beef with the ball. But if the ball just isn't like perfect, brand new, day one tournament quality, and it moves a little faster, I just think you really need to get over it. You know what I mean? Because it's unrealistic to expect promoters to buy new balls all the time. They're super duper expensive. They're like, they're easily twice as expensive as what they used to be. If you're paying $5 a ball, $6 a ball, whatever it might be. And half time you can't even get new balls. You know what I mean? Like, I know for a while it was like there was like a shortage of balls. And I think it's fair to say the new balls might be somewhat worse. I don't really know. I will also throw out there, like, I've seen some people post in my comments about like the balls that Bill Chance made, like the Cherry Lochnar balls. And I bought a set from Bill a while ago. And I guess my thoughts on those balls were they looked really, really nice. The texture on them on the outside is fantastic. Like, I thought that part was really good. However, I don't know if you play with those balls, but they're just like dead. Like, there's like no action on the ball. Maybe some people still like them. I think that's fair. I just feel like they felt very dead when I played them. Like, they wouldn't bounce around very much. They just played a lot different than the tornado balls. And I didn't like them, you know what I mean, personally, just because like I felt like, they just felt very dead. I mean, it might kind of be a better, like if everybody switched over to them, I don't think it would necessarily be bad. They're definitely seem to be good from a control perspective. I think they probably maintain the fuzzy kind of texture on the outside as well. So that was okay. I just didn't feel like they bounced around the same. And I just felt like there was less action overall. And I didn't like them for that reason. To me, they just played so much different than a tornado normal tournament ball that it was just too different for me, But I think if everybody switched over those and that was just a new ball, I think it could be okay. You know what I mean? But I think if you're going to practice with those and then go to a tournament and play with the tornado balls, I just think they're too different personally. You know what I mean? So that's my take on those. But yeah, overall, it's like, were the balls good at TKO? No, they weren't great. You know what I mean? I think everybody's really blowing the table thing out of proportion. I didn't think the tables were that bad. Like, I didn't play very good on those tables, but that's on me, dude. That's not on you can't just always blame the table for your shortcomings. You know what I'm saying? It's like the good players are still playing good, Brandon Munoz is still winning singles, dude. He's not crying about the table. Plus, like, everybody's playing on the same tables. You know what I mean? So if the table sucks, just switch sides. You know what I mean? That's what I did a lot. I made people switch sides. Anytime somebody picked the side, I know Sean's going to be bitching about this because we'd win game one and I would still switch sides. And then if we lost, my partner Sean was crying about it. And maybe it was stupid to switch, but basically, like, anytime my opponents picked the side, I would always make them switch, just because I felt like if they picked that side, maybe they would be annoyed by having to switch to the other side. Maybe it wasn't a good strategy. I'll give you that. I don't really know, but I'm just kind of laughing about it. But yeah, I don't know, man. I like the whole bitching about the table thing. I think is so weak. I think all you guys crying about the tables are just absolute crybabies. You need to just fucking man up, and it's just silly. I mean, the ball is the exact same scenario too. It's like if the ball's like this way or that way, either way, everybody's playing with the same ball. You know what I mean? So I just feel like, there are just adjustments you need to make with different balls. You know what I mean? Like when I'm doing a brush pass with a really fuzzy ball, when I set up the ball, it's going to have to be different. I'm going to need to move the ball back a little bit because I don't have that extra fuzz on the ball that's going to help me get the steeper up or down brush. So so you do need to have the ball back farther. You're going to have to move it differently because the ball's not going to move as good if it's slower. Later in the weekend, the ball's going to roll a lot faster, and you're going to get more time that the ball's moving to do your brush pass. So for me, that's like a big difference. It's a big difference for sure. For the other shots, like, I don't think it's that big of a difference personally. If you're doing a pull shot, what's the difference? Maybe there's a difference. I just think like you're really blowing it out of proportion if you think there's a difference. With a roller, give me a break, dude. If the roller, there's no difference. it's stupid to even, I don't know. To me, it's absolutely ridiculous to think that like the ball makes a difference shooting a roller. You have that thing pinned, you move it, whatever, dude. It's not a big deal. To me, like the brush pass, honestly, is the biggest deal. And tic-tac, I mean, sure, like the ball's going to move a little faster, a little slower, that type of thing. And then like catching the ball, controlling the ball. The faster the ball is, the more you're going to make mistakes controlling the ball, and the more difficult it's going to be to control the ball. So to me, it's like a lot of times these people that are just absolutely complaining about the ball conditions, it's because they don't have good ball control. You know what I mean? Like their ability to control the ball is worse. So what do they need? They need the slowest ball possible that gives them the absolute like easiest to control ball, because you don't have good ball control. You know what I mean? I feel like personally I have actually pretty good ball control. And like as far as picking up loose balls, all this type of stuff, I feel like I do a pretty good job with it. And I'm able to deal with faster balls better than other people. So if you're not one of those people, then yeah, you're just going to be sitting there crying about the balls all day, crying about the tables. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've talked about the whole table ball thing before, but I just want to make another video about it today because, number one, I had really nothing else to talk about. And number two, somebody asked me to make a video about it. So that's my take on it. It's like, did the balls suck at TKO? Yes. I think they did suck. However, I think they have sucked before. And to me, it's not that big of a difference, honestly. They suck now. They suck before. Anytime I've played one of these tournaments, by the end of the weekend, your ball is completely different than the start of the weekend. So to me, is that a sign that these balls suck? Yeah, dude. If they can't maintain the same texture on the outside of the ball for the course of one tournament weekend, yeah, that's not good. But it's been like that forever. It's not like a big difference. You know what I'm saying? So just suck it up. It's on you. It's not on the ball. And that's about it. Actually, I guess while I'm here, I might as well talk about the weekend. I didn't play any tournaments this weekend. Basically, like, I just skipped it. Friday night they played at Grady's, this bar with like 2 tables. They're going to play a singles tournament and doubles tournament. It sounds like the singles went long, so they only played singles. And actually, I guess I want to make another video about this as well, but just the fact that like foosball and gambling are so like tied together. Like this weekend, I skipped playing foosball and I just went and played some poker. I've been getting more into playing poker again. I played a bunch last year and did okay, and now I'm kind of getting into it again. So I played some on Friday night, I played some on Sunday morning, and I won some money this weekend. And like with foosball is also just very tied to gambling. You know what I mean? Because like ever since I started playing foosball, it's always been, you're paying your quarters, or now you're paying your table fee. But then there's always like an entry fee, and you're essentially just gambling for that money. You know what I mean? It's like you're entering this tournament, top whatever many spots get paid out, and you're playing the game for money, And really money is all we have as far as like to mark wins and losses, to mark who is the better player. That's all there is, dude. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's these crappy trophies. The trophies kind of sit in your house. Nobody even sees them. They're worthless. The jackets were a thing, but now nobody's giving out jackets. I don't know why. Maybe they're too expensive. I don't know why nobody's doing jackets anymore. But that was like the one thing we had that is now we really don't have it anymore. So now it's basically just money. You know what I mean? And some people have like kind of bitched at me on these videos. Like, oh, you're always crying about the money, or you're focused on the money. Yeah, dude, I am. You know what I mean? And also like, I think like Matt McCrory posted one time, he's like, you're really just looking at it from a player perspective, not a promoter perspective, like 95% player, 5% promoter. I think that's completely fair. And you're 100 million% right. Like, I'm looking at this. I'm a player. I'm like a player advocate. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care about the promoters, to be honest. Like, I'm not a promoter. I think it sounds like a complete pain in the ass to be a promoter. Like, it's not something I want to do. just because like I don't want to deal with you crybabies bitching about everything, making my life a living hell as a promoter. Like I've thought about it. I thought it'd be cool to maybe like get a little office space here in town, rent a little place, maybe get like 6 tables and just like run tournaments in there. I could do that if I wanted to. But it just sounds like a pain in the ass, dude. There's no money in it. And everybody's such a crybaby. It's like you do that and then you run these tournaments, you make a little bit of money, and and everybody's probably just complaining the whole time, complaining about table conditions, complaining about the balls. It's just not worth it. Like, to be honest, I don't know why anybody runs foosball tournaments at all. I'm glad Ryan's doing it. I'm glad the people here in the Detroit area are running tournaments. I do appreciate it. I think it's great. But I don't know why anybody's doing it. I mean, I'm sure they're making money. I mean, that is like the reason to do it. But yeah, if I'm looking at it from a player perspective, money is going to be like the main thing I'm thinking about, because that's really the only output you have from these tournaments. You know what I mean? And even with like this Friday is a good example, actually. It's like they're going to run 2 tournaments. They had one that was like a singles tournament, and they were going to run a DYP also. The singles and they're both like you pay quarters, so the table fee is like the same across, But they're like the singles one, they're going to do a $5 entry. I've complained about the $5 entry fee in the past. It's just so annoying because it's so low amount of money. When I first started playing these tournaments in like 2000, it was like a $5 entry. Now it's still a $5 entry. Everything else in the world costs like 3 or 4 times as much as it did back then. So playing for $5 is just like, it's just a waste of time. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool to play the tournament for sure. You know what I mean? But that's all you're getting out of it. I mean, basically it's just like you're playing a tournament just like for practice. You know what I mean? And I think they even tried to do a $10 entry on singles up there recently, and like everybody rebelled and like they had to just do $5 because everybody's complaining about it. So it's just like ridiculous, man. You know what I mean? So that's one thing that's kind of pushing me away from foosball to other things like poker, like where I can actually make a little bit of money. Like I know it's not like about the money necessarily, but at the same time, it's like, what are you getting out of foosball? You know what I mean? It's like you get the camaraderie of playing with your buddies. That's true. You know what I mean? You get the competition and trying to be the best and stuff like that. And I've been doing pretty good at the locals lately, so I'm pretty happy with how I've been doing. But past that, I mean, it's basically just like the money you win, you know what I mean? And the money is so low that, yeah, it's a little bit annoying, dude. It's a little bit frustrating. Like, there's like the other week I played a couple turns. It was like Saturday night, played a mega draw and won that, and then played like the Bring and won that. So you win 2 tournaments, and I brought home I netted like $35. You know what I mean? And hey, man, it's a small turnout, whatever the case might be. But if I just look at like that or like going to play poker, I know they're not the same thing. Don't get me wrong, but it's just like it is just frustrating how low the amount of money is they're winning playing foosball. You know what I mean? It is what it is, and maybe it shouldn't be about money. I'll give you that. Maybe it's silly to think about the money. Maybe you should just play for the love of the game. But at some point, the money becomes a factor. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but when I got introduced to foosball is basically, the money is just intrinsically linked with foosball because we're always playing tournaments. Tournaments always have an entry fee, and ultimately getting these payouts out of the tournaments is what you're getting out of foosball as far as like prizes go. So I mean, it's hard to just like ignore that and just say like, oh well, now there's no money, I'll just keep playing and like just suck it up. You know what I mean? I know that's what the promoters want us to do. It's like like a lot of these bars too, like nobody, like back in the day it was like, you pay the entry fee, the bars matching 50%, or maybe even sometimes more. Like, nobody's even negotiating these good deals anymore. You know what I mean? And hey, maybe it's I'm sure it's difficult, obviously, that to get people to do that. Maybe back in the day when we were all younger and we were partying more, we were buying more alcohol, and it was easier to negotiate better deals with the bars. Like, go up there nowadays, it's like people might eat at the bar, but they're not really drinking that much, compared. In the past, I'd be like just throwing them back. I'm not up there drinking right now. I'm a net negative on the bar, I'm sure. So, so I'm sure that plays into how much they can get the bar to chip in, you know what I mean? But it seems like the bar match is gone, you know what I mean? There's no like 50% bar match. Payouts are just abysmal, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, man. It is what it is. It's not the greatest experience as a player compared to how it was a while back. You know what I mean? And I'm not even talking like in the 70s when everything was like insane and awesome. Even in like the late 90s, early 2000s, it was still a world of difference, honestly. It was just like, and maybe there were more players too. I don't know. And sometimes the fields were certainly bigger, which would help. But yeah, the payouts are just awful. Even if you're winning these tournaments, the payouts are terrible. So definitely just doesn't really incentivize you to play when you are gambling, essentially, for money, and even on the top end, the payouts are terrible. So anyway, that's my rant for the day. Let me know what you think about the balls specifically. Should I be more worried about the balls? Do you guys have legit complaints about them? I mean, I think the complaints are legit. I just think like there's nothing you can do about it. So why even complain about it? Just learn how to catch a ball that moves a little faster, and maybe you'd stop crying so much about it. You know what I mean? You wake up, your pillow's completely just drenched every day. You know what I mean? Oh my God, I'm so mad about the balls. People are bringing their own balls to TKO. It's ridiculous, dude. Just play the balls at the tournament, man. It's insane. Anyway, pretty frustrating situation. People complaining about the balls. So let me know what you think. And yeah, man, I'll see you in the next video.